Greetings, humanity. And, welcome once again to Channel Other Doc. I'm Jim, I use he, him pronouns. And this is Alas for the Angry Void, a reskinning of Alas for the Awful Sea by Storybrewers Roleplaying to tell a gothic science fiction story set among the stars. Let's go ahead and go around and say hi to everybody, find out who we have today, who they are and who they're playing. And we shall start with Hollow. Hello.
Hello, I'm Hollow. I use he, him pronouns, and I will be playing Jackson Mead, who also uses he, him pronouns. He is the merchant confidant.
Excellent, excellent. And now we will head over to Mem. Hello.
Hello, hi, I'm Mem. I will be playing Irina Maynard, and we both use she, her pronouns, and she is the scholar believer.
Excellent, excellent. And now we will head over... See, cameras are wrong. Hang on. I'm going to fix it right now.
That's their government name, actually.
Yeah.
Ah!
I believe it.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
I believe that.
No, it's just...
Thanks for
Mr.
revealing
was
my
father.
secret to the world.
Well, just to keep things simple then, let's head over to Robin.
All right. Hi, I'm Robin. I use any and all pronouns. Today I am playing Rust Worsley, who uses he, him pronouns and is the surgeon outcast.
Good. And finally over to Katy.
Hi, I'm Katy. I'm going to be playing Levitt Teague, the mercenary lover, and we both use they, she pronouns.
Awesome. Unfortunately, Cleric could not be with us today, who plays Fergus. But hopefully they are well, and we'll see them back soon. Let me see. What am I doing? As he tries to remember all the things. Yes, right. Streaming. You may see us use safety tools from time to time, like we do with the other games on this channel. We're going to be using the X card, the N card, and the O card. If we hit something that's crossing a line for one of us, any of us can type an X in the Zoom video chat or anywhere else, or make up or hold up a card, make an X symbol, and we'll back up and we'll do something else. If something happens that we're okay having in the game, but we don't want a graphic description of it, we can type an N in the Zoom chat, and we'll fade to black on it or put it behind a veil. So it'll be there, but we won't go into detail. Finally, if we're exploring a topic or an area of roleplay that's particularly intense for us, but we want to keep going anyway, we can put an O in the chat to let us know we're okay and that we're all good to keep piling on the drama. Something else we can do is put an O with a question mark after it when we are moving into a difficult topic, or if we say or we do something and then think maybe that might have been a little too much, then everyone else can respond to that again with an X, an N, or an O to let us know if we're still doing okay. We're also using the pause. If any of us needs to take some time, we can ask for a pause in the game while we discuss things, or just take a break, for as long as anybody needs. As a reminder, just a few content warnings. This game may contain gothic themes like gloom, despair, intense emotions, macabre scenes, romance, and curses, along with references to violence, alien creatures, colonialism, crime, death, exploitation, family issues, separation from family, homesickness, loneliness, starvation, sudden decompression, the vacuum of space, and vengeance. If you want to see that at any time, you can, and you're watching live on Twitch, you can type !AlasCW in the Twitch chat, and that will come up. It should also come up regularly on rotation. Also, please remember we have an open door policy, which means that any of us and any of you can feel free to step away from this at any time if you need to. It's just a game, and mental health is always more important. So, let us to space. Is doom coming? One might think so, the way followers of the Ashendarist religion have been behaving on the planet Metaxas, an old trading hub. Irina Maynard, a non-Ashendarist who still studies all the religion's gods, is heading back to the CS Chimera, a number of books in hand, and is about to encounter someone among the Ashen with whom she has a history, Olivia Phalanx. Earlier today, Olivia was at the center of an altercation between her group and the port merchants. Who started it? Well, Jackson Mead knows. Of course, Jackson isn't so worried about that right now, as he is doing particularly well in the market selling his stock of canned goods. Not bad, considering the shock he's recently received at communing with something that has observed him from across the void. Something that seems to be carrying a scythe. Whether that scythe is real, representational, or both is not yet known. Fergus, the Chimera's pilot, has determined after communing with what's probably a different entity, that Metaxas may not be a safe place for anyone soon, and has urged his friend Percival Fielding, the owner of the Paper Vault bookstore, to pack up and leave with him. Percival has asked for a little time, so Fergus has agreed not to depart until tomorrow night. Meanwhile, the assassin Levitt Teague, currently under contract, has returned to the Chimera. Levitt has a job to do that they're looking to fulfill by about 5 days from now, when her target, who is leading an exploratory mission, will be visiting Comet Attis, the spectral comet. A comet which Jackson has recently discovered from a fellow merchant will be passing through a section of space called the Null Zone in 5 days, coincidentally enough. Dr. Rust Worsley, who has accompanied Levitt back to the Chimera, has concerns of his own. He is slowly dying from a mysterious alien virus that's poisoning his blood. He's scheduled to see another doctor about that this evening, a doctor who probably has more resources at his disposal than any physician on this planet. So let us check in on the Chimera and see what is happening as evening is falling. Do I assume correctly, Rust and Levitt, that you made your way directly back to the ship?
Yes.
Levitt made Rust buy her something to eat.
Oh, I brought you to the chicken stand.
Yes. Yes,
Levitt
there.
acted like
chicken.
it was. Yeah, Levitt
Bird
acted
meat.
like it was. She was too good for it, but she liked it.
Okay.
Yeah. The chicken stand, not terribly far away from the parasol stand.
I forgot.
And
You're like,
Yeah, like, oh, I didn't give that child flyers. You don't know who I am. I made that child's day. Shut up.
oh yes, absolutely.
I gave her a shiny brooch. She's so happy.
It's good to no, definitely, absolutely. But yes, the stuff is gotten from the chicken stand. You do not in fact see the child in question running around.
I do avoid the parasol stand owner though.
Yes, well, needs must. And so you successfully acquire the chicken on a stick. The thing that is remarkably like chicken. I think I said it might actually be a different bird, but I've forgotten now.
yes,
close.
I believe the bird was nondescript.
Yeah, it's not like
But
it's not a terrestrial chicken, obviously, but I mean, it's close enough. But I think I said something about it being slightly closer to another chicken, another bird that on Earth is kind of close to what the chicken is, but I've forgotten. Anyway, no need to get bogged down in those details. Plenty of other details to get bogged down in. So you make your way. You've made your way. The area has cleared at this point. Rust will note there is no longer a wide scale sort of tussle happening up on the outer ring. And you will successfully make your way back to the ship before Irina does.
Perfect. Because the name that I was given was Lucas Maynard, right?
No.
No. Why did I get? What name was I given?
You were given. Hang on. Markov.
Markov. Where did I get the
Yes.
name Maynard from? I was thinking this whole time it was Irina, related to Irina.
Yeah. Oh, it's Serena's last name,
Lucas
but
Markov.
MA names. MA names.
MA.
You know.
I'm so sorry. Okay.
Oh,
Anyway,
no worries.
I still think that I'm going to, because is the ship empty besides Levitt and Rust? No one else is here?
Just the captain.
Okay. I think I'm going to quickly. And what's the name of the comet? I'm sorry, I wasn't here last week.
Attis.
So my brain.
Oh, no worries. ATTIS. Or the spectral comet. That's also what it's called.
Spectral comet. I'm going to just do a little quick sneaksy peeksy poo through both Jackson and Irina's quarters, wherever they are, to see if they have any information on the comet Attis.
Oh, interesting.
Not any in-depth digging, because I don't really want them. I'm not particularly looking for like through their things. I don't care what they have. I'm not trying to steal anything. I don't want any to be in their things. I'm particularly looking for anything about the comet Attis.
One of the funny things is that, given the timing of this, they have both independently gotten more information, but it wouldn't be on the ship yet, the information that they've gotten. However, just because I'm curious to see if anything comes up, I think perhaps we shall have you, unless you have something about turning a room upside down or something like that.
No, I don't.
Then I'd just read a situation. See if there's...
Is that brains?
It's brains.
Can I argue that I do that I somehow do this with brawn, and I'm like using
going to threaten the room?
No. I'm somehow using my strength to like turn things over and look through stuff. Because I'm not trying to look in depth. I'm just trying to see if I can parse anything that has a name on it with Attis, because that would tell me that I can ask them about it.
Ooh,
I'm not like wanting to actually read and look into it. Levitt knows she's stupid.
I would say the argument for using your strength here is you're saying that you're basically just
I'm just sort of looking through stuff, like quickly
just
pulling
looking.
stuff out, looking. Yeah.
So you're kind of more feeling your way.
Yeah, exactly.
I would say that would I could get you a roll plus beyond.
Okay, that's better than the -1 I have in brains.
To sense what's beyond while you're doing this search, where you're sort of feeling it out.
And then I forgot I have a +2 on my next roll from.
Yes, you did.
From my what did I have? I rolled something that gave me a +2. I can't remember.
Yeah, it was your love. You're testing your love, which has turned out to be perhaps not pure.
Okay, let's go.
It is true. It is
well,
strong.
It's still a fail. It's a 6.
Okay.
This is great.
Excellent.
This is great.
Let's see. Let me grab something here we can look at. Okay. All right. Yep. All right. So I think we will. You're doing sensing things. Yes. So
I should have just stuck with brains.
While you were searching the rooms, you're sort of in there, and you're looking, trying to, just sort of sneak into her. I'm going to assume you have the ability to bypass any locks that may be in place. So just given what you do, But, let's see. I think it's, while you are searching, I think, Irina's room. Irina, what kind of stuff is in here?
There are books and journals and lots of drawings. Some things in digital format, some things in the old school formats. So there are paper copies of things. There's a chest with very neatly packed clothing. There's another chest with well-preserved samples of things. There are some, quote, alien artifacts, end quote, that are very locked up, very locked down in a special chest. That's about it.
Okay.
No canned ham in there.
No.
Damn.
As you are, yeah. I would imagine most of the ham is in the cargo hold. But
Should have checked Jackson's room first.
you're gonna. It's weird because it's something you wouldn't have noticed had you not been in here looking around.
Mm-hmm.
But there is kind of so there's a comm panel that has this. See this light come to life and start blinking on it, and you can hear this. It's weird because you hear for just a second. It's like this sort of.
Can I go over to it?
You can. It's. The screen doesn't look the way it should. It has, sort of, and it's like some sort of glitch type thing seems to be happening. You're not clear. But once you step up to the panel and it's like a few things going back and forth on it are sort of glitching, it's like normal panel and then you see it spell out in front of you. I too am searching for answers.
Is it like a comm panel that like you can like press a button and communicate with someone or like that sort of thing?
Yeah.
I press a button and I go, "Hello, little friend. Who might you be?" I try to like tap it to see if I can make it any clearer.
What are you looking for?
I'm looking for information. What are you looking for?
I am looking for information. I am looking to preserve information.
Perhaps we can help each other?
Perhaps. What do you seek?
The comet Attis.
And there's a bit. Hang on, the connection might still. Just I have to get past Warden. Connection. I could come out if, but I cannot.
Is there somehow, I think like this is a stretch. I don't. This is me like assuming how this tech works. I don't know. Make it up as we go.
Yeah.
Somehow I can like link my portable comm device with this comm device to like make a connection with whatever this person is, and like we can because I'm thinking like Arena might be back at any moment, so I'm like we can speak later.
Ah, you invite me in freely.
And Levitt contemplates for a moment and is like, sure, what the hell?
Thank you.
Oh,
And it
God,
will
Tim.
the data will move onto your device.
And I've just downloaded a fucking Trojan virus.
Yeah, you wouldn't download an alien.
Amazing.
Wouldn't you?
Amazing. Yeah. Levitt at this point is just like, whatever. I'm already working for people who are probably going to kill me. Why not? Why not download malware?
Excellent. Okay.
And then she's going to talk to this thing, but like she's scared that Irina might catch her, and she doesn't want to like cause any ripples with her and Irina's relationship. So she's going to get out of there and just, go about her time on the ship.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Are you also checking Jackson's room, or
No, I think that is enough. She's a little wary now, so she is really sad she can't, nick any canned ham, but she'll just get some from you as a friend later. She will probably make a note that when she sees Jackson, she is going to talk to him. Like that's probably her next thing is when she actually like sees Jackson and he's not busy, she does want to speak to him. Because Jackson is like her friend, like she trusts Jackson.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, and I will just say that you will note as you're going about your business on the ship, every now and then your comm device now has it about 80 to 90% of the time it is operating normally. Every now and then there will be a tiny little thing in the corner that will be like a sort of like there's a thing that's kind of like a little sort of eye symbol that'll come on and turn off every now and then, just kind of like it's winking at you.
Interesting. Okay.
Rust has also made it to the ship. Made it also to the ship with Levitt. Was there anything you wanted to do here on the ship?
I'm much more boring. I don't have anything to do except for wait for my doctor's appointment.
Okay. All right. So it's not in too terribly long. You're probably going to be departing from the ship before a lot of folks get there.
Okay.
I think it's let me see, just as far as the timing of it all. Yes, you will note as you are departing the ship that there are some of these Ashendarists hanging around outside, just like a couple of them. And they're just sort of they're kind of they're doing the sort of port thing where they're kind of doing they've switched to soft sell proselytizing rather than the in your face proselytizing. It's the evening.
When Rust goes to leave, I think Levitt is like sitting outside smoking a cigarette and is just like, where you going?
Out.
Where out? You've told me you're dying. I'm a little curious now about your whereabouts.
I have been referred to a specialist.
What's the name?
Koi Shackley.
Do I recognize that name?
So, how much has Levitt been paying attention to her surroundings on this planet?
Probably a lot. She's been here a lot before too.
Okay. Yes. You've heard of Koi Shackley. That is the let me get the it's Dr. Koi Shackley is actually it's funny. Yes, a physician, but also is the PR chief for the Crown Mining Company. There is this thing where it's like he's married to the CEO. And so he ended up in that role. The story goes he ended up in that role because he was better on camera, as it turned out when they were trying to do family fireside chat things.
Yeah. Okay.
So
But do I have any idea why someone married to the CEO would have anything to do with Rust? Like any inclination?
I don't think there's that
That
is
seems
unusual because
weird.
you last you'd heard, and again this is just just stuff you'd have heard through the grapevine, right? Is that the guy has almost no patience ever. I don't mean does not see patience, sees almost no patience.
Yeah.
And so this is unusual.
She sits up and like flicks her cigarette off and says, "Just watch your back. Be careful, because it's very strange that the husband of the CEO of the mining company would agree to see you. Anyone, really. You don't find that weird?"
I wasn't aware.
Well, watch your back.
I will do as you say.
Wow. It's the first time you've ever said that. And she'll slip back into the ship.
Alrighty. So, the piece of the ship, relative piece of the ship, is going to remain undisturbed for a little while. Night is falling, and but then Irina will make her way back to the ship, and you will see standing there, as we teased last week, your old friend, Olivia Phalanx. Leader of the Ashendarists on this planet, probably. She is, there's, I believe you described her tall figure, bit of a busybody, clad in the ashen-colored robes, the gray robes, and she has a blue armband. The blue armband, I'm gonna tell you a little bit more now because we've got more. It's happening, because this is stuff you'd know. So the Ashen cultists do not all wear blue armbands. The blue armbands actually are for any Darist who has seen the face of one of the deities. Which, there are rituals you folks have where it's not necessarily out of the question for it to happen. It's a very personal revelatory thing for these people. And so that if this happens to you, then you can join the Cobalt Circle, basically. Mm-hmm. Some folks then will go to one of these offshoots, where, now even more fervent, some of them will be like, no, it's just this one god that we want to focus on. And so that happened apparently in Olivia's case, where she is now exclusively following a specific deity. Did you have, by the way, a particular name or symbol or such that you folks call this deity?
I did not.
Okay. That's fine. For the time being, then, I will call this deity the Magister. This is a... This would be, as we kind of talked about, as a deity of authority and judgment, kind of a... someone who often like sits in judgment of perhaps some of the other deities. I think probably in some variants it's like a parent figure. It just sort of just depends on your take on them. But she's standing there with a couple of other of the Ashen, sort of there in front of the Chimera.
Mm. Great.
And
Lovely.
seems to be waiting for you. Just saw you coming up, seems to be waiting.
Well, Arena's, well practiced in dealing with unpleasant folk. So she continues to walk forward. No change in appearance. Just a tiny little and then keeps walking. Is Jackson still with her?
Well, Jackson is out selling out of canned ham at this moment, I think.
Oh, Fergus was coming back. That's right. Okay.
Fergus was, yes. Fergus was going to be following you. He was probably not terribly far behind you somewhere.
Okay.
Somewhere. But is also going to be running back and forth doing a lot to... Fergus is around, but is running back and forth doing a lot to help Percival get the books ready to move.
Fair enough.
Poor guy.
So Arena will just walk towards her fate. Proud, strong. But probably looks like somebody going to, the stands.
So, and she sees you coming up. And she'll like... I thought that was you. Arena.
Yes, it's me. Hello.
I had heard you were here.
Oh.
What
Olivia?
are you, what are you, how are you?
Well, doing quite well. Just gathering some supplies that I need and, continuing my journey in education and knowledge. The usual.
Yes, of course.
Of course.
And actually, you can see, I should point out, that she does look a little bit worse for wear. As she has been in a fight today, as the audience knows. So it's not like she's got, it's nothing severe. There's a little bit of bruising, sort of near one of her cheeks, I think, which is where that would be visible. But so you can kind of see that there's a little bit of dishevelment and a little bit, it's like, that you can see that, So nothing terrible, but it's like.
Irina takes the opportunity to just hit her with a little zinger for funsies, because that's what we do here.
Oh
just
boy.
a little bit. Just kind of looks at Olivia and notices she's a little disheveled. Doesn't seem like this place is treating you very well. Are you okay? You don't look quite yourself.
And for a moment, like, she knows you. She knows when you're digging and when you're being sincere. So she understands that this is a dig. But she also looks like she's at a point where she has I think an intense amount of control. So she's not gonna necessarily reveal if this is affecting her too much. But she is tired. So there's this little bit of like that happens where she's like, where she sort of exhales and she says, No. We've had difficulty getting our message across. And she's just sort of she looks at the bag from the bookstore that you're carrying, and she just sort of like, still weighed down by a bunch of things you're only going to half read.
First off, I read the entirety of every book that I purchase. Thank you very much. I am not you, and my reading level is above that of the second grade level. How dare you? And also, it's none of your business.
And she does this thing where she kind of almost like bares her teeth for a second, and she stops as though she's counting for just a second. Is this your ship?
This is that of yours.
Did you hear about what happened today out there?
No, I was perusing for books, not scrapping in the streets.
We were attacked by the port merchants. A group of them, and we fought back. But then the company stepped in. And we are, it seems, going to have to get some of our numbers off of this planet very soon. So I was hoping and it's like, this is painful for her to start trying to say this. You can tell.
It's painful for Arena to hear it going, oh no, please don't.
I was hoping to speak to this ship's captain.
Well, I'm sure that's possible. This is a ship available for hire, so you are free to do as you please.
Is the captain here? You know? I just...
Are they aware that the captain is
No.
like an AI? Captain.
Probably not.
Okay. So we all just do business with Fergus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, but she probably
And
doesn't
I know
that.
Fergus. Yeah, but I know Fergus isn't there, so I can at least say that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or tell her whatever you want.
She Arena's kind of hateful, but she's not gonna lie. She gets in her feelings about her education, about science, about its importance in books, but she's not gonna lie. So she kind of sighs, looks at Olivia. Well, the captain is always busy. I've never personally met the captain, but I do know that the captain works very closely with a nice gentleman named Fergus, and Fergus is not present currently. He has errands to run about the town, so you can come back and meet with Fergus at a later time.
Do you know when this Fergus will be back?
I do not.
Look at a thing real quick. No, all right. Yeah, no, we're good. And it's just sort of she's yeah. Right then. We will have a couple of faithful wait to see when he returns.
Sure. But I would advise you, just knowing how you all tend to operate, that perhaps you should be a little less aggressive with your message, a little kinder, a little gentler, especially with Fergus, and also perhaps with the merchants on the planets that you visit and that you are the visitor to. Perhaps a little more respect towards the locals will go a long way.
Are you trying to actually convince her of anything right now, or are you just still digging?
She just knows how she is. It's not really, it's like, she's actually kind of trying to be helpful, but she knows Olivia's not going to listen.
Yeah.
But she also doesn't want her to like be weird and aggressive towards Fergus, because Fergus has been so sweet and kind, and there's no reason for it. No veiled threats or weird religious arguments to try to get on the ship. Done. She doesn't need that.
But I think at that she's not gonna lose it necessarily, but she will say, "No, we know they came after us and clapped us in irons for a time.
That is an argument with which every religion can make you're not special."
This happened today.
Well, I'm sure you started it today. Because you start it every time. Because that's who you are and how you are. Olivia, I can't. As a matter, you know what? There's no reason for this. She at
this point is like, no, you're right. There is no reason. I have no reason to listen to this. My God, you. She just shakes her head. Well, good luck with everything. And says, perhaps you'll be seeing some of our faithful on board, but they will be very respectful if they gain passage. We can assure you of that. She sort of, I had hoped that. I had hoped you would have gained broader understanding in this time. But what they do here, you care nothing about what they do here. They are endangering so many.
What do you mean?
Whatever.
Who's they? Who's they?
Let's see. Is she patient enough? I think, If you would like, so I think this is going to be a thing where if you want her to stay and explain, you will need to do manipulate another here. Because she is wanting to turn away.
Oh,
at
well,
this point.
of course she got the goods after I've been mean, of course. couldn't expose that before I popped out my ass. Dang it. Okay. Oh, fine. Fine. Ugh. Well.
So, do you want her to stay and explain it, or do you let her go?
No, I'm gonna try to outsmart and or manipulate her or whatever it is.
All right. So you're gonna be rolling plus beauty.
Yep. Can we use brains?
Well, you've told her. No, you're trying to manipulate another. You've told her what you want, which is to find to know what it is she's talking about.
Yeah.
And so yeah, this is you're trying to be. This is the thing where you're trying. Well, that's the thing, is trying to just convince her intellectually is something you know does not work with her.
Fair.
Your entire history is pretty much testament to that.
Yeah. What if I try to use our religious ties, so like beyond?
Well, that would default to sense what's beyond. So if you want to try to suss out the information from her that way. But that does, once again, the void notices when you do such things. So, up to you if you want to try to do that.
We'll try with beauty and
Okay.
and fail and see what happens.
Well, we'll see. You could succeed.
All right.
It's possible. Unfortunately, in this case, you did not.
Ew.
On the well, it's a miss. It's not necessarily a failure. So
Maybe you'll meet a new little friend too.
you never know. This was manipulate another. So but still, actually, let me make a quick note over here. There we go. Yeah, that's coming up. All right. So she will say, all right. As you you're trying to sort of egg her on to tell you this stuff. And what she will say is, this place this planet is too important in the scheme of things, and taking from it its lifeblood will upset the balance of everything. Mark my words. She points. The eye of the Magister is going to be upon you. And at that point, you hear her just sort of like turn. She turns her back on you, and as she's saying, and as she's starting to stalk off, she says, "No, you stay here." She says to the two of her flock who are here, and she says, and she looks over at some that are gathered a little further. The rest of you come over here. We're going to see if we can find anything else. And she whispers something to the two that are remaining as she leaves. And the two that are remaining just sort of shift their stance a little. They grow a little more tense. And they're standing a little more still as they're watching you and the ship.
Irina just like watches all of this, looks at the two, shakes her head, just mumbles under her breath, "It's a right, cow." And just passes by the two, looks at them, nods, continues on to the ship.
They will nod back. Levitt has been in a position to witness this if you wish.
Why would I say no? Of course I witnessed it.
It's like, got into it. So Irina, you're gonna head back onto the ship, then I take it. And
She's gonna start to read front to back the wares that she purchased.
okay. So I'm going to assume that you held on to the book that had the other the other rabbit hole that we were talking about.
Yes.
That you did not go down, which involves one of the moons of this planet.
Mm-hmm.
I will come back to that.
Okay.
So, as we're doing this though, we're gonna need to hop over. Let's see. I think, yes. Because of things, and the timing of everything, I am gonna go ahead and hop over to Jackson. Jackson, you have sold out of your wares that you have with you, so I just wanted to know, what are you going to be up to at the end? You've got there's this cute couple in the bread stall in the bread stall nearby, who have you been striking up conversation with, and they are still selling bread, but they are also the ones that told you about stuff that happened out in the when their ship accidentally passed through the null zone.
Right.
But so you got that story, and you were sort of here. You sort of in. At this point, you're out of ham. What would you like to do?
Well, I'm out of ham. It's the end of the day, and I think it's time for Jackson to get ready and go and receive his shipment in the morning. Thus allowing him to get ready to go to Addis.
Hang on, just out of curiosity.
It's Addis.
Mela, I think.
Mela, yes.
Yeah. I had to double check myself because I don't know. I forget things.
Yes.
Yeah, Mela Station.
Yeah, Mela Station. It's time to go. It's
Yeah. All right.
Jackson's had a very full day of stirring up shit and learning too much about some people, and yeah.
The bakers will ask if you want to exchange information. His contact info. Yeah,
certainly.
As they like you. It's and they give you their names, and it's two very nice ladies. We'll give you their names. They're a married couple. And they will and you will head on back to the ship. And this is the part where I tell Levitt that they can see that Jackson is returning to the ship.
When Jackson gets close enough, I think she's just like sort of she makes herself known in like that sort of unnerving way that lets someone know that she was always watching. Like she was always there. So sort of like slips out behind him quietly and is just like clears her throat and is like, how was your day, friend?
Dynamic. we'll say dynamic.
Did you make a lot of ham cells?
I did, in fact, not as many as I could have. But I don't blame myself for that. I blame the Darists.
You blame the. Did you have something to do with the conflict then?
Only in being in it. Well, being around it. I was a merchant. There were Darists. There was a clash, and some of my goods were scattered.
Interesting. Anything you need me to handle?
No, it's being taken care of for now.
All right. Do you happen to know anything about something called the Attis Comet?
A bit, maybe. Just a bit.
Is that bit interesting? Does it come for a price, or interesting bit that you're, interested in giving to a friend who has helped you in many things and will continue to help you in the future?
Well, I don't see why, we should put ceremony on it. So what are you looking for exactly?
In 5 days' time, someone's going to be there that I have to... I have business with them.
Ah, business.
My sort of business.
Right, business. Trying to remember all I remember about the comet now.
It's not a lot if it's the stuff you got from the bakers.
Yeah.
Let me know if you would like me to provide information. And
Sure, because I don't want to cross any. I don't want to cross the boundary of information that was delivered from.
Yeah.
To other PCs.
So the as you recall, the story they told you was that their ship accidentally passed through the edge of the null zone in this sector, and for a little bit it felt like there was someone on the bridge with them. That seemed to adjust their sensors where their sensors were pointed, and their sensors ended up being pointed at the comet, which will be arriving in the null zone in about 5 days.
Do I know anything about the null zone?
Jackson, do you tell Levitt about these things?
I do tell Levitt about these things, kind of because it doesn't seem like much. It's a very strange place. If you have business, I would certainly be careful. If you have any sensors in your personal belongings, I wouldn't trust them. So say some people.
Yeah. Levitt would have heard the local, since you've been to this sector before. You would have heard what I think anyone knows about the null zone, and it is a region of space no one travels through. There are rumors that if you go there, you will be changed, or some folks say you will be replaced. Some have reported, strange, odd malfunctions happening with their ships if they get close to it. So a lot of people most folks just avoid that zone entirely. Ostensibly because it seems like it makes equipment malfunction for whatever reason. But then there are legends that grew up around that as well.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Thank you for the information, Jackson. Care for a drink?
Sure, I could use a drink.
I think Levitt will just accompany Jackson inside for a little bit of drink before dinner or something.
Yeah. Cool. All right.
She will sort of let it slip casually that Arena had a friend over.
Oh, well, I mean, I didn't realize she could make friends, but
I don't know if they were friends exactly. She did seem like a one of those Doris, though.
ooh, well,
Arena, did you know she has a little bit of a bite to her? I was quite impressed.
yes, I mean, yeah, needs must for the feral and all, but
I'm just saying, Jackson, I would watch out how you treat her.
well, I
She
mean,
might
how about how she treats me?
I mean, you're not exactly the nicest person to her.
Well, I think that we just have mutual distaste.
Mutual, well then you could bond over them.
Absolutely not.
Lemon just laughs into her drink like she thinks it's the funniest thing in the world.
Because I cannot help being evil occasionally. Jackson, whilst this drink is happening, you will get a ping on your comm.
Excuse me.
And you just have a message. It's a text message that's come through. That just says, just wanted to say again, it was a pleasure meeting you today. Looking forward to perhaps doing more business with you in the future. And it is from Signe Norman.
Yes, of course, Miss Norman. Business. Of course.
And if we're good with this, I'm going to shift over real quick. We're gonna see something, or at least the start of something, and then I think actually I might want to go to break a little bit early if that's all right with folks. But I want to shift over to Rust for a moment.
Hi.
Hi. You are you're going into the you're going into the inner ring.
Mm-hmm.
And it is lit up because it is nighttime. There are a lot of street lamps that are out, blazing with their futuristic LED type lights, and all manner of these billboards that show these holographic billboards that come up showing images of different things they're advertising. It is, in some ways, some parts of it feel a little bit like a ghost town, if only because this colony was built for a much bigger population than it currently houses. But those who still can afford, those who can afford to live in the inner ring are much better off typically. So you have a lot of things. What come up? So we're it is a little bit of a there's some bits that are like a little bit of sensory overload, but it's not over swarming with people or anything. But there are folks out who enjoy the nightlife, and so you pass by a number of the more expensive types of bars and theaters and what have you, and you will make your way to the an office building that's sort of near the edge of the complex, the big complex rising up above the center, with the revolving crown over it. and basically they'll you go into the lobby. There's a receptionist to whom you have to provide a name.
My name?
Whatever name the appointment was made under.
Okay, well, that would be my name.
Yes. And they'll show you over to the elevator. And once they find out who you are and who you're here to see, they seem to be very, very reverent. They send
Reverence?
you in. Yes. Yes, toward you. Something you're not used to. This has not happened in a long time. They're very reverent.
Don't do that.
Don't let it match with all this gaslighting.
So you enter the elevator and it goes up and up and up, and you are headed, you realize, to probably near the top floor of this side building. Circular side building.
He's starting to get vertigo. He's like, oh, this is not good.
And I think that is when, you'll reach the top, the elevator doors will open, and you'll hear light music playing, and you'll be welcomed in by the voice of a virtual assistant. And I think that is, if it's all right, where we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. When we return, we will see what is happening up here. Going to play an interview while we're out.
Nothing good, I'm sure.
I'm sure everything will be fine. Everything will be just fine.
Levitt tried to warn you, is all I'm saying.
We'll see you soon. Welcome to the break. I am here with Pope, and we are going to talk a little bit about one of my favorite games ever, Don't Rest Your Head. Greetings, how are you doing?
Greetings, I'm doing quite well.
We were both rubbing our hands in eager anticipation of this topic. Are you as addicted to this game as I am?
I have a deep and abiding love for the game because it does everything that Changeling does, but in a much tighter package.
Oh, dear God,
and
yes.
It is... Changeling demands a campaign. Don't Rest Your Head just demands a night. You can try and run a campaign, but if you've only got like an evening to spend with friends and to give them one hell of a ride, there's nothing that quite compares to Don't Rest Your Head.
This is very, very true. How did you end up coming across Don't Rest Your Head? How did it happen for you?
It's all your fault.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize.
No, catching one of those miniseries early on and seeing that and going, I love this. I need this, and then getting to run it over on Colonomicon's channel and
yes,
getting a chance with that. And yeah, no, it's been a love. And when somebody goes like, hey, can you roll a one shot? Especially in real life, it's like, well, I've got this. Do you want to have an interesting time? This is going to provide it. For a lot of what I like to refer to as World of Darkness refugees, it is a nice refuge.
That's very fair. That's very fair. Something that I've said for a very long time is probably since the first time I ever actually got to run Don't Rest Your Head. which was somewhere in the late aughts, I think. It is because I was prior to that, I was deep into World of Darkness for quite some time, and I thought if you want to play, and this I sort of playfully say this, and I understand this can come off as a slight, so I apologize in advance to folks deeply into Vampire. But I too have been a very deep fan of Vampire. But something I've said for some time is if you want a game where you get to play a supernatural undead badass, you play Vampire: The Masquerade. If you want to play a storytelling game of personal horror, play Don't Rest Your Head. And that spoke more to just the groups that I was in, I think, than anything else. But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, and Don't Rest Your Head occupies this really cool space now within the hobby of, like, it shares a lot of the same bones, I would say, as Quietus. Like, this is setting up for you to go on a ride. You don't necessarily know the exact place it's going to end, but you know the area code. Like, you know what the rough destination for this, and that is part of the buy-in. And because it is so explicit about its content and where it's going to go, where it's going to end, it makes it so much more enjoyable. And the wonderful thing that Don't Rest Your Head does, more than a lot of other horror games, is it gives you a place to put all of your toys as a storyteller. And I know with you, also with me, just you get to start building the Mad City.
Yes.
And then you always have that. Once you've built that little model piece, whether it's a trans-dimensional Denny's, or it's the bazaar, and building out who's there, you can always come back to it. And for those who have already journeyed, it's like visiting an old friend. For those that it's their first time, you get to introduce them to a location, an NPC, someone that is a part of that world that you have lovingly crafted. And because you don't stay there so long, it always feels fresh, it feels new, it's engaging, and it doesn't outstay its welcome.
True. Now, I've just realized we probably haven't fully explained what exactly it is that we're talking about. So just to confirm for folks, this is a game that we are talking about. It is a horror game in which you play someone who is essentially an insomniac with superpowers, basically. You have powers driven from your exhaustion, and you have powers driven from sort of the madness that builds as a result of staying awake for too long. And then you are fine when you're awake for long enough, you can then see the nightmares, the living nightmares, as they walk amongst us, and then go back to their home in the Mad City. And the trouble is, of course, then at that point, that the nightmares can also see you. That's how I usually describe it.
There is a price for power. There's a price for entry, and that even with the naming conventions, it gives you that up front, like pain being a name.
Yeah.
And again, that word is so explicitly evocative.
Yeah.
Exhaustion.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you're taking a risk in doing whatever that's called for. And so it is very explicit about what it is you're doing and the costs, what's at stake. It is ever present, and you need that for it. There is a level of atmosphere that horror games need to give you the tools to bring to the table. And whether that's like stress mechanics, whether that is, sanity, whatever it is, you need to have something to hang a few hats on. And Don't Rest Your Head has that in spades. Plus, it gave us so many intriguing, esoteric characters to also use in our stories, with evocative names like Ladies in Hating, the Taxman, like the Wax King. These names are delightful to good mouthfeel, delightful to say, but also bring forth so many different images in the context of the game.
I remember hearing you describe it at some point as something that was, and the Changeling connection, I think, is related to this, obviously, but I remember hearing you describe it in a game as something that was like akin to a fairy tale when looking through it, because it's very much like that, except it's a much darker twist on the whole thing than even darker than I think people normally think of fairy tales as being.
But it comes from the same place. It comes from that place of legend, and this unique conceit that when you sleep, part of your consciousness goes someplace.
Yeah, and
it is part of this collective human experience that builds these places, these things. That's what Changeling does well, and that's what Don't Rest Your Head does exquisite. Is it gives you the tools of dream logic, and for both player and storyteller, it's incredibly freeing. You're not, your hands aren't bound by so many mechanical minutiae. You can go to the weird places, you can go to the esoteric places, and you can go to the surreal places, like just with the channel and Invisible Sun. Like, I'd like to think of Don't Rest Your Head as Invisible Sun's goth cousin. Like,
in a way, yeah.
It has that dream element that allows you to give your players a respite, because humor is always going to happen at the table. It always will. It's how we break tension. It's just
human
experience. But here you have, instead of it being inflicted upon the game, it's part of the game. Having those odd moments, those funny moments, those breaks, before you twist it or turn it on its head and make it menacing again.
Oh yeah. And I think we could talk about this for hours and hours probably, but alas, we don't have that much time. I will say something that I remember seeing. The thing about the thing about this game, and part of the reason that I think we're both so frenzied about it, is that it is just very adaptable, very versatile. It has, much like Invisible Sun, and also to an extent like Amber, it has the ability for its lore to just accordion out like nobody's business. You can make so much, so fast, so easily with the concepts that you're presented, which is why I've got these. I don't even use the base nightmares much anymore. I've got this entire weird thing of connections of nightmares that is weird. In these strange power struggles, changing the shape of the city, and it's just a blast. But to that adaptability, I remember seeing you use the Mad City in other campaigns that weren't even Don't Rest Your Head.
Yeah,
and it works great.
as a locale for that was doing a superhero game.
Yeah.
As a locale, and if you have a mystical protagonist in anything, if they're dealing with the astral plane, if they're dealing with dreams, interpretation, anything like that, and it is in a modern setting, the Mad City all of a sudden gives you all these tools without having nearly so much that the mechanics require of you to use these things. You can just go, I am going to take all of this beautiful lore, mood, tone, and throw it at this protagonist. And now they have to deal with this. And if you're using any system that has some flexibility, this is just a wonderful location to bring into your game that then you can go later on. Say, like, we're having a progressive campaign. You can take a trip to the Mad City for a little while in that game, and then later on, when you need a break, you can go back there, but with the actual rules. And your players will already have a level of familiarity, but be able to experience something absolutely brand new.
Yeah. And I got to tell you that there was a time not terribly long ago when in my Invisible Sun campaign, the PCs were in there is a nightmare realm stated, basically the dark side of blue, where they were going through and you can get close to people's nightmares. And I was sorely tempted. Alas, we did not have time. But I just felt, if they just continue on a little bit further, they're already running into living nightmares. Not much of a jump to start getting close to the Mad City, but maybe another time, maybe another campaign. Well, this has been wonderful. But just real quick, if folks just in general are sort of looking for you online, where should they go?
That is Pope World Build over on the Twitter. You can follow me there. They'll have all the updates as to appearances elsewhere. And yeah, definitely keep an eye out for more horror content, possibly with my shiny face on it, over on Balrog 1911 and Wandering DM in the future. So till next time, folks, take care of yourselves and thank you for hanging out with us.
Take care, folks. We'll see you suddenly. We have returned. And we are entering the office, or, well, I say we. Rust is entering the office of Dr. Coy Shackley, physician and PR chief of Crown Mining Company. You'll see that there is a virtual receptionist, who appears to be sitting behind a desk in this little outer office, and it's much like the captain of your ship, basically, in the way that this is here. And she will lean forward. Dr. Shackley, Dr. Shackley should be about ready to see you in just a moment. Dr. Worsley, do you have anything that you wanted to? Did you have any questions or anything you wanted to ask before you go in?
I think I'm sufficiently informed.
Very good. And hear this sort of this little ding on the desk, and you hear coming out the voice coming out. Send him in, please. And she will gesture, and this wall will silently open. The panel will silently open and allow you through.
All right.
You step into the biggest doctor's office you have ever seen. It's like somebody's living room, if they have money. There is a desk. There are all manner of sort of gleaming panels, and there are plants in here. There's this sort of wide vista where you can see this series of windows. Big. There's probably a term for this, but the large connected windows go all the way across one wall. And they're like there's furniture in here, nice, comfortable looking chairs, and like a couch, and through the window you can see again the gleaming city outside, from way above. You can see a lot of the city from here, and you see, standing up from behind the desk, you see an older gentleman. He is wearing a white kind of collarless shirt, or sort of jacket, I should say, collarless jacket, and pants, and he's just sort of will stand up. He's balding. He's bald on top. He has white hair, as sort of very neatly combed back, and as he sort of has, he kind of has a slightly gnomish face, and he will, you recognize him from the billboards, as he will step around the desk, and as he's kind of looking at a monitor on the desk and touching a few points, a few things on it for a moment, and sort of nod. He'll come around. Dr. Worsley, yes?
Dr. Shackley, it is good to meet you.
Likewise. Florence sent over some information regarding the results of some scans that she took, and if I may, in a moment, I'd like to run a few tests of my own. That would be all right.
That is acceptable.
But before we go in, is there anything you'd like to tell me about this condition? You might want to tell me, actually, if you would, if you can sit down a moment, tell me from the beginning how long this you've been suffering from this condition and what is, and anything else you think might be relevant.
Well, it developed quite suddenly, where I was experiencing no symptoms. And then a few months ago, I began to notice these black lines on my chest. And there were a few at first, and then they grew in number despite all my research and treatments I tried on myself. Nothing seemed to relieve it. And then as the lines progressed, the symptoms began. The fatigue, which you would expect, but stranger things as well. Dreamless sleep, and then the most peculiar nightmares.
And about again, remind me again, how long again did you say the first symptoms began?
Just a few months ago. I don't have a precise date.
That's fine. And how far into that did these nightmares begin?
Just a few weeks. Not so long after.
Florence has sent me some of her suspicions about what this could be. I am inclined to agree with her just on hearing this initially, but I do wish to check. There's some things that there's something that is familiar about this, and I can't quite put my finger on it. But if you would care to step into the examination room, we'll see what we can do.
Very well.
Good. And he sort of sees you. He sort of sees you getting out, sort of uncertain. He's like, and he will. Let me see here. And I think he'll just sort of kind of smile, kind of encouragingly. He doesn't seem to be the least bit fazed by any of this. And when you head into the next room, you're going to see you have the patient table, and there's sort of spacious but private examination room. This is like stuff, even when you were practicing regularly in a single area, you would have killed for some of this stuff.
Yeah.
That some of the equipment that he has here. He has essentially also what is he's going to come in and ask you to do to lie in what is essentially kind of the equivalent of an MRI machine. But it scans for so much more. And so we'll come in, everything, and it's like everything is clean, everything is neat, and it looks like perhaps not used hugely often. Used, but not hugely used. He will do a scan, a few scans. He will, over the course, I'm going to shift ahead a little bit. Over the course of this thing, he's going to do some scans. He might take a blood sample, if you're willing, so that he can, get a fresh blood sample so that he can compare it against some things. And there's a lot going on while all of this is happening. Is this... as far as like the different little things and tests, I don't think it would get annoying per se, but there is a question of sort of the overall curve of this. So, and the way he's trying to be, you know, he's being generally comforting, but at the same time, you know, there's you know these tricks, right? That a person has with their patients. So it's like this. He has a great bedside manner. I need to stress this. But it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, this is good. So I think I am going to ask for you to be acting under pressure here, just so that I can determine something.
Roll plus balance.
Yes. Okay.
How have we all failed rolls this game? Jesus Christ!
Excellent.
Where do I mark my XP, please?
Not,
You have to tell a story. It
Not
actually
this fun
involves.
game.
Yeah, XP actually, to be fair, if this were being run by a person who has a sense of timing, then every other session or so you would be writing up a story and perhaps getting XP from it. Unfortunately, the first story is still happening, it seems. So there's
yes.
Yeah, it's it's a thing.
It is what it is.
So, well, welcome to the slow burn.
Yes.
So, all right. The testing takes a while. You were there for at least an hour or more. Because there's certain tests that he looks at and he's like, wait a minute, why is this behaving this way? It's very strange. There's some things that it's like he's trying to isolate. So like for the first hour, he gets most of what Florence got.
Yeah.
Then he decides to change the tests up a bit, use different equipment, do some different scans. And you can tell it gets more puzzling the further he looks into it.
Great.
There's something, and you can feel as though there's something he is like, there is a point where there's this small, you hear this, you don't see him because you're facing away at the time, but you hear this small inhalation of breath. Have you been to this system before, Dr. Worsley?
Yes.
How long ago?
When was the last time the ship was here?
The person who can answer that is not with us tonight, so I'm going to say you provide an info. I'm going to assume it has been perhaps. How long have you been on the ship?
I think we said about 5 years.
5 years? So maybe it's been like... this feels like it's like a couple of times a year maybe this trip is made. Just given how far out this sector is, probably. I'm going to guess it's somewhere around there. So you tell him it's like a number of months. And it's like... Have you ever been to any of the... Have you always just... Have you ever ventured out beyond just the colony, the Metaxas colony, or are you always, or do you always stay here?
I've never ventured very far from the ship.
No, I'm not very far from the ship. No. Ship hasn't encountered anything unusual or anomalous. In
Not
this
that I'm aware
time
of.
that you should bring up. Right. I see. Interesting. Very interesting. There's something afoot here that is... I'm going to turn to you. Dr. Worsley. What you have here is a very complicated situation. You have what some have referred to as it's rather dramatically, as you've received what some refer to rather dramatically as a blight virus. It is not of human origin. It is programmable. It is something that I've not heard of being used for some time, but it is at one time it was favored by the organization known as the Cinder Throne. Are you familiar with them?
Not at all.
If you haven't ventured far from the ship on trips here before, then I can certainly believe that. But there's also I would assume you don't travel in too rough circles. My understanding is that they are organized crime. Disenfranchised nobles from some time ago. Who were trying to, let's say that some of them have some influence around the Outer Ring. But the thing is the gestation period of this. This was very difficult to pin down, and I think I understand what is happening, but it is something that could be a severe problem. Given certain things that are happening, just this is going to sound ridiculous, but in the cycle of the galaxy. I will explain, if I can. See, this is a virus that has been introduced to your system, but it seems as though for a number of years, it has been sitting there. And it hasn't killed you yet because it is not for you. From what I can tell, from what I can read of it, I do not understand fully even, but as it is damnably difficult to interpret this, the code that it goes into programming this virus. But I think it was intended for another victim, and you picked it up from someone else. But it has adapted.
Is that supposed to be comfort to me?
Not at all, no. No, it's actually very bad. Because what you're dying from is a side effect. You see, it adapts. It adapts. It adapts. Its job is to adapt and find the most efficient way and least conspicuous way to kill its victim. The reason it's showing up like this as veins is because it's having to adapt to your DNA. And so it's going to be doing a clunky job of it. The only way that this can be stopped is if someone removes it. And the only way it can be removed is if it is appropriately, for lack of a better term, hacked. Or if someone has the key. Whoever created the virus and whoever created this particular strain of the virus in the first place might be able to stop it.
So you're telling me that in order to find a solution to this disease, I need to find out who it was intended for in the first place, and then find out who wants them dead.
That would certainly help. Part of the problem also, I see that there may be other ways. It's tricky, you see. And there's this this point where a machine sort of dings. He stands up. He's like, see, that's the thing is that a lot of the elements used and involved in this virus are a kind that we suspect. I'm going to tell you this in confidence, understand, all right? But a lot of the elements used in this virus, some of the elements, it seems, are the kinds that have been found at certain sites. We suspect that some of these elements are also found in Comitatus, which will be around in a few days. Part of the reason, actually, why we're sending that team over to study it. Hmm. And the machine dings again, and he stands up and he starts approaching the machine. While he's heading over there, he looks over. Are you all right? Relatively speaking.
How well do you expect me to be?
And the machine ejects. He presses a button. The machine ejects this cube. It's what looks like a little sort of glass cube or a plastic cube with little lights moving around inside it. He picks it up, and he says, as he will head over to you, he will offer the cube to you. He says, "You're gonna want to give this to. You're gonna want to." There's a lot here. You may want to have Florence go back over some of these things when you have time, as that may assist with that may assist with her continued. Now she I think is going. I've sent her a bit of a message. I think this is something that she needs to try to monitor with you as best she can. So, how is he, by the way?
As eccentric as ever.
I thought so.
Something is wrong with my audio. I can't hear anything.
Oh no. It
just stopped all of a sudden. Let me see.
Just stopped. Is it still stopped?
Yes.
Okay.
Default speaker, microphone, headset. Okay. Can someone say something?
Hello? Hello, can you hear me?
No, I'm still not hearing anything.
Oh, crap.
Oh, I think I heard something.
Yeah?
Yes. Okay.
We're back?
Hello. Yeah, we're back. I don't know what happened.
The techno gods, they will do these things to us. But what he will say is just, all he wanted to say is, when you see her next, give her my regards, would you? There's a lot here, potentially. There's a lot here. I do have some thoughts. Oh, God, I need it. He says, hold on for just a moment. And he starts to go to leave the room. Do you want a drink?
Is that advisable?
I mean, at this point, it couldn't hurt, I think.
Then a drink I shall have.
Very good. Just a moment. And he turns and goes into the next room. And after a moment, you hear a crash from the next room.
I'm going to get up and go investigate.
You step into the next room. Door opens again. You could hear a bit through it. And you see to one side of the room, near the desk, you see that Dr. Shackley was at his little sort of mini bar, and there's a decanter that's crashed to the ground. He is lying next to it, and across the room, and you see there's like a you see sort of in his back, where he's sort of lying down, there's this little sparking thing somewhere in the middle of his back. Across the room, near the windows, there is a figure that is leaping up beyond this sort of sill. They are dressed entirely in gray, in ashen gray, with a hood.
Do they have a blue armband?
They do seem to have a blue armband. And they immediately, the moment you enter the room, as they're up sort of near the window, they turn and they look at you. You think. They can see you. Would you like to do something?
Can I read a situation?
You certainly can.
Okay. Let's try this.
This is definitely a situation. Okay. You got 2 questions.
What's my best way in, way out, way past?
Do-do-do-do-do. Best way in, way out, or way past? You've got a little bit of room. The safest thing would probably be to try to go and, if you don't want this person to get at you, just immediately? Okay, so you have... actually, yes. Best way in, way out, or way past. You have a couple of options here. One, here's the thing. You don't know if you'd be able to make it to... This room does have another exit. You don't know if you'd be able to make it before they have... There is something they're carrying in their hand. You can't make it... You're not sure exactly what it is. It's a gleaming metal thing. You might be able to make it to the exit. Or the thing you could for sure do would be to step back into the examination room and barricade yourself in. And you'd be safe maybe for a little bit if it holds, depending on what they have access to. But you imagine some kind of security might be coming. But you don't know enough about the situation to be able to determine that.
And then, of course, if the person is gone and I'm there still, they might think that I did it.
There's a chance. We don't know.
And then my next question is, what here is not what it seems?
So, this individual, I think... As they turned and they sort of look up, there's a point where the light kind of strikes. Where... Well... Your first thought is this sect this violent? I didn't think they were supposed to be this violent, but then they did get into a fight earlier today. But the thing you do notice is that they are wearing underneath the cloak, which, very much looks like this is an Ashendarist. Mm-hmm. But you can see that they're wearing you can catch a glimpse. You can see that there's like that they're wearing a black sort of headgear mask that covers the entire head. And with like goggles and like a thing over their mouth that might be like so it's a mask. So like, you don't know if Darists would have access to something like this. They might if they have, if they have as
Outside
much
funding.
as, if they have, outside funding. But there is something about this. There's something about this figure, and you're not sure what it is, but something is telling you this person is not necessarily who they are pretending to be.
Okay, great. And I have one more question, which I know is technically not allowed, but it's more specific, which is that can I tell from here whether or not Dr. Shackley is dead?
From
Or
where
is that
you are
something I
standing,
need to...
from where you're standing currently, you'd probably need to go over to check.
Okay.
Yeah, in this instant, hard to say, but if he's alive, he's not doing great.
Okay. Well, I guess as a doctor, it is my responsibility to take care of injured people or persons. So I have to go check on him.
Okay. The assassin fires a warning shot. As you begin to move toward Dr. Shackley, as this little bolt of metal comes out of their device and pings on the floor and crackles with red electricity between yourself and Dr. Shackley, and you'll hear, "Leave him, he's not worth it," in a distorted voice. What do you do?
I have to go. I have to try and see if he's alive or not.
Alrighty.
I can't.
I need you, if you're going to try to do it, I need you to act under pressure.
Can I
You have a thing?
Can I take a +1 going forward? Because
Because
Or
it's
no.
let's see, acting on one of these answers.
no, I guess not.
Maybe
Because
it
I'm
depends
not
on
acting
how
on
you're
him.
on how you're trying to leverage this.
Well, my leverage would be that this is not an Ashendarist who is an extremist. This is someone who is acting under the guise of an Ashendarist and is a real assassin. And so I'm going to be especially careful.
Okay. Is there a particular prescribed method of in assassin avoidance you'd like to employ as you're heading towards Dr. Shackley?
Move quickly.
Okay, you can have the +1. We'll do.
Okay. Might not even need it. Let's roll balance, because
Let's
this
see
is
how
an
it
acting
goes.
under pressure, obviously.
Yep.
No, it doesn't help.
Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah.
What a great day of rolls we've had, folks.
So you try to get closer to Dr. Shackley. And a dart grazes you in the leg. it does not stay attached to the, it does not, it actually goes, here's the interesting, it doesn't plant itself in your leg. It goes past, but it grazes your leg. And you receive a little shock, and your leg muscles go numb for a moment, and you can't make it across, and you start to collapse a bit as you try to put your weight on that leg. And you see this person step forward, and it's like something shifts really quickly in the hand that was holding the weapon. It's like shifts, and there's this like, and they're suddenly holding a different weapon. It looks like this metallic fan this metal fan that comes out that has this glowing red against its edges, and it's vibrating slightly. Some sort of hand projectile, perhaps, you're not sure. They're sort of rearing back, and they're like, "I told you, he's not worth it. Stay still." And they're going to start backing toward the window.
I guess I'm gonna wait until they're gone before I try.
It's a thing where like there's this moment where they're kind of like, as they see kind of you're tracking their movements. There's this moment where they're like, where it's like they make as though they might throw something at you, and then they pause for just a moment as they are putting, with their other hand, they slap something up against the windows. And you hear this sort of as all this sort of these lights go across the windows. That the windows evidently, they're not just glass, these are programmable windows. As digital lettering forms, as at first it looks like a glitch. It's getting into its system, and then these letters start forming, and you can tell there's like this point where the windows start to they're kind of semi-molecular windows, so you see in hexes the area right around where this individual is standing go and the window opens. And they're like watching you for a moment very closely. And they'll say, "Stay out of trouble, Doctor." And they will leap backwards, falling backwards out the window. And as you see, written backwards, from your perspective, across these big plate windows, sort of see the words, "You are in the scales of the Magister and will be judged." And it's big glowing red. Mm-hmm. And an alarm is going off.
Can I go to the doctor now?
You race to the doctor's side. The Dr. Shackley is like, just very much just like, see his eyes open for a second. Get that cube to Florence. And he passes away.
Great. I do not want to be here when security gets here.
Oh, okay. You would like to flee the scene?
Yeah.
Okay. There are a couple of ways out of this room. Actually, 3 ways now. The window is still open.
Yeah, I'm not jumping out a window.
Okay, just checking and just make sure. Where'd you like to go? You have there's a side way out of the office, and then there's through the reception area.
I will go the side way.
All right.
By the way, do I have to take a harm?
I'm gonna say, given how harm is, Let me see. I think one harm is you is basically will go away on its own. Yes, I seem to be remembering. So yeah, you'll have
It's
one.
It's like Urban Shadows. You have to rest, but yeah, it goes away.
Yeah, you have one harm.
Okay.
And yeah, your leg is still messing with you. It's not. This is not going to be easy, but still possible.
Okay.
Maybe.
I'm going to trumble down the stairs.
Okay.
Which I'm assuming it's stairs.
There are stairs available. Yes. There's a stairwell. There is an elevator, and the idea here is to get down the stairs and hopefully find a way out of the building without security seeing you.
Or, maybe I'm rethinking this.
Okay.
Maybe I should stay
Okay.
and explain the situation
Okay.
and wait for security and be like, yo, an assassin showed up. Check it out. Glass window, if you look down, I didn't do anything. I'm very sick.
Is that what
That's
you
why
would
I'm
like
here.
to?
Yeah, let's
is
do
that
that.
what you would
Let's
like
do
to
that.
do? Okay.
Yes.
After.
I think he looks down the stairwell. He goes to the side, he looks
Yeah.
down the stairwell. And he's like, his leg, bad. Stairs, bad. Elevator, bad. I guess I'll stay here.
All right. After a few minutes, actually not even that long, after close to a minute, a corporate security force shoulders their way into the room. You can see as the ones that are coming through the reception area, you can see the receptionist is glitching. They come dashing in, looking around. They are immediately rushing to secure Dr. Shackley. And then a couple of them will come up to you, sort of on either side. Either side, they don't touch you. They're like, "Could you come with us, please, sir?"
I didn't do anything.
Okay, that's fine. We still need to question you.
I understand.
They will turn, and they will march you off to their security zone. And as we're getting close to time, I believe that is where we will go ahead and bring this to an end, if we're good with that. If there's anything anyone else wants to get in at the last moment? Are we good? All right. Therefore, we are come to the end of our time. Thank you all very much for playing. I very much appreciate it. I am glad we finally made it to the assassination. I was very happy. I cannot wait to see what happens now with folks. We're going to go ahead and go around. Before we go around, I will mention next week, apparently, there's this very popular holiday that goes on that I just found out about today. Having something to do with Easter or Ostara or something along those lines. And so that is happening a week from now. But then in 2 weeks, we can be back at it. So we'll go ahead and go around and feel free to tell folks where they can find you and any final thoughts you have about this session. And we will start with Katy.
Hey everyone, I'm Katy. You can find me all over the internet at KatyFace. I'm a professional DM. Right now I'm selling some games of like Battle Royale, PvP sort of setting. If you're interested, look on my Twitter where I'm selling them. That's all for me. Had very fun. I'm sad that I have Easter activities next week. Usually my family does not do holidays, but since I have little nieces now, that has changed. So I have to do stuff with them now. But I can't wait to be back in 2 weeks.
Awesome. Excellent. And folks, do check out Katy's games because excellent GM. And we will move on to Robin.
Hello, everyone. I've been Robin. You can find me on Twitter at r_Omulus. Currently, I am offering $10 sketch commissions. So for $10, I will do my best to draw you anything that you want. So you can find the link for that over on my Twitter and my Tumblr. And yes.
Yay. Were there any other final thoughts you had about today? Or
I think Levitt's going to be mad at me because I did get shot.
You think?
I did get shot. Yeah.
This is true. You did get shot. Yeah. Excellent. And now we will head over to Mem.
Hi, that's me. I exist nowhere on the internet other than here currently. And I guess I wish Irina had maybe gone less hard on poor Olivia, since then she had information that Irina needed. But I mean, otherwise she got what was coming to her. So it is what it is.
True. And you still have some things, some more information to delve into that we'll be getting into next time. So very much looking forward to that.
Yes.
And finally, we will head over to Hollow.
Hey, I'm Hollow, and you can find me here on Thursdays playing Blades in the Dark. Final thoughts about the game. I really enjoy that we all can sort of play together and have tension among each other in character. There's a lot of cross tension. Jackson definitely feels like, well, I should be able to hate someone too, right? Because you hate this other guy, right? It's only fair, right? So just being able to like go back and forth with Irina has been great, and I love being blissfully unaware of the whole destruction situation. Like, oh, everything's gonna blow up and it's gonna be bad. It's like, oh, we're just gonna go to the next place and it's gonna be fine, and I'm gonna get my job and I'm gonna get my money, and we're all gonna have a wonderful. We're all gonna have a capitalism. It's gonna be great.
Yes, everything's fine. Excellent. Everything will be just fine. I can't wait to see how things go. Awesome. Well, and that leaves me. I'm Jim. I am Other Doc on both Twitch and Twitter. Various other places. Twitch, YouTube, most social media platforms. Anywhere I'm not Other Doc, I'm Jim Yes That Jim. My website is jimyesthatjim.com, where you can find my Geek Observation podcast and links to my various other podcasts, audio dramas, writings, and such. Down below, you can access my website, social media links, YouTube channel, and various other things. On Thursdays, we have Blades in the Dark happening. So this Thursday, we should be hopefully picking that back up again, as we had last week off. And I can't wait to do more jobs. This is going to be great. Then, of course, like I said, on this is usually on Sunday afternoons. Of course, we will be off next week, so we will be back here in 2 weeks to continue our saga. I just cannot get over. I cannot get over this delightful cat.
She's the queen of the world.
Yeah, Juniper is a joy. Excellent.
Yes,
excellent.
she's delightful. And then she keeps biting me.
Oh. But there will be some one shots coming up in late April that I will talk about more as we get closer. In the meantime, I might be doing a bit of video gamery, but that'll be about it. When we hit the end card, there are some folks streaming we may go say hi to. I will take a look at it once we get there. So feel free, if you're so inclined, to go over there and say hi to them with us. Again, that'll be when we hit the end card. In the meantime, folks, thank you all very much for watching. Take care, and we will catch you next time. Farewell.